Let's try. It did a 37-minute one the other day, so we'll see.
Okay, yeah, it's recorded now.
Okay. Well, we're going to do, hello, this is Ann, Michael, and Monica here, MCV Realty. Going through a little training session. And this is good for the public too, so you understand timelines in the purchase agreement, where we just had an accepted offer and we're getting ready to send our buyer the timelines on this offer so they know what needs to get done when. So the first thing we pull off here is the escrow money, which is $500 within 5 days per this purchase agreement. So we're going to go back over here and we're going to put escrow money within, I usually put 5 days of accepted offer. So that's on there. And they want to send that right away. And the escrow or good faith funds must be made out to the listing realtor brokerage, which we'll add in here on this for the client and send them an email and let them know. Then the next thing, we go down a little bit. We go down a little further. Mortgage, it's got the mortgage here. It had the price up there. Time for obtaining financing, 7 days for the application. So the buyer, we need to advise the buyer that they need to contact their lender right away to get the application started. 45 days for approval because it is a USDA, which take a little bit longer. FHAs take about 30 days. Conventional could be less than 30 days. Conventional are usually the quickest. FHA second quickest. USDA and VAs, typically you're going to want to put 45 days because they're going to take that long to process fully.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can we take a pause in here and re-record? Are you supposed to share your screen?
Yes, and I'm not sharing my screen, am I?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
Okay. Michael Vandergrift here with Ann and Monica, MCV Realty. Doing a little video on buyer timeline as it pertains to the purchase agreement, because you need to be aware of timelines. Once that offers, we just had an offer accepted. And so now we're providing the buyer with the timeline per that purchase agreement. So we start with, and we've got a little template here we're using. As soon as I get back to it. Okay, now I'm back to it. Now I'll be able to just click the screens. Okay, so in the email template, time is of the essence. The faster we get things done, the easier it will be to close on time, because everything's reviewed by underwriting, unless it's a cash deal. They will keep asking for paperwork probably up until closing, and all timelines are from the purchase agreement. So escrow money, this is a normal one for me. I normally put 5 business days of accepted offers, so they need to send that out. That's escrow or good faith funds, and it must be made out to listing realtor brokerage, which we'll provide to the client. Check or money order with their new home property address. We also want to add in here, please take a picture of check or money order and send to us and mail or deliver ASAP, as soon as possible. And we'll provide that information in the email to the client as well, the brokerage, mailing address and info. And then they always want to put their property address or their new home's address in the memo. And then next, we're going to get to inspections. Hold on one second here. It's not letting me just minimize this for some reason, so I'll just click. Okay, so we got through the escrow, which is right here in part D of page 1. We get down here to page 2. It's just the financing type, USDA. And we get to the financing timeline. They need to have their application to their lender done within 7 days, which they need to call. Now that we have an accepted offer, they need to get a hold of the lender right away, which will also send the documents to the lender right away too. And they have 7 days, and USDA and VAs, typically you're going to need 45 days for acceptance of agreement just to be on the safe side. Conventionals, usually about 30 days. FHA, it kind of depends on the lender. Some are 30, some are 45. So we're going to add those into that template. Loan up, and 7 is normal for the application process. I'm going to change this to 45 because this agreement's different than past ones. And on this one, the next thing we go to is we go back to the purchase agreement. We've got closing date on January 14th. Okay, there's two important things here. The closing date of January 14th, and then we are allowing the seller to have possession for 30 days. So that's important. So we skip down here to the closing date. Is going to be into next year, January 14th, 2022. And I've got always tentative and subject to change because they do change a lot. Very common for those. And then we need to change possession. A lot of times is a closing in the current market, but it used to be 30 days and it really should be 30 days. So 30 days after closing. It's actually within, I believe, is how it reads on there. Let me double check and reread it because everything goes back to what the purchase agreement says. Yes, within 30 days. So we need to make sure, because that is key, because the seller could be out earlier than that. Within 30 days after closing. So we go back to this agreement here because the inspection on this one, but I'm going to try to do this in order of the purchase agreement so it makes it easier for you to understand. So next we have surveys waived, so we don't need to order a survey, which would need to be done right away if there was a survey on it. If it's in a flood area, we may get out. That's a lender. Lender will check that and see if it needs flood insurance. Here's where we come to homeowners insurance. They have 10 days to get a homeowners insurance quote, which the lender will need, and the lender is going to remind them about as well. But we just put it in there, and 10 days is what I almost always put there. So the last thing we need off of here is the inspections, which are always order as soon as possible, which we need to do in this case. It's very rare that I ever advise a client to waive, because next we're going to get to these inspections. So you could waive the right, which means you don't get to do any inspections. You could reserve the right, and where you could do an inspection response and ask the seller to cure or repair items. Or you can do as is. And in this market, it's such a seller's market and seller controlled. As is your best option, especially when you look at a house that's a good house, doesn't have too many issues. We did an as is agreement, and so then we would go to the as is addendum that is attached with this. So when we have an as is or when we waive, there are going to be nothing in here for the inspection periods. Because it's not, it goes to the as is, and the as is on this, I did 15 days. So we're going to go back and we're going to put in normally 10. You want it to be as quick as possible because it makes the seller feel more comfortable, because the more time you take on those inspections to get back, the more time the house is off the market. So from a seller's perspective, they want the house, they want to know that we're good to go as soon as possible. And this is 15 days. And the last one we did was an as is as well. So it already says 15 days to submit for mutual release per as is addendum. So they want to order the inspections as soon as possible, which on this property here, we're going to have to order a well test or a water test. I always suggest the full panel. It's not that much more. And a home inspection. So we've got the loan application, we've got the loan approval time, we've got the closing, we've got the homeowner's insurance quote, and we have escrow. So we're good on this. Are there any questions or concerns on this?
No, not at all.
All right. And you can always refer back to this video for that. And we'll be coming, folks, be sure to share, like, subscribe, and we'll be sure to release more content as we go through things, making sure to share and all of our knowledge and be as transparent as possible. Thanks for watching. All right, now you can stop.